Welcome to 1943 on HappiNES, the new Challenger Approaches series. I'm Nick.
I'm Joseph.
And we are brothers who run the channel Instant Replay Live, where we play various games, retro or not. And we were asked to do the 1943 challenge, where we are going to play 1943 on one life. We're going to each do it and answer some questions. Now, one of the rules, I think one of the main rules, was that there should be no practice for 1943. I did a little bit of practice, to be fair, just to get the setup going. And I will also say we are on an emulator instead of an actual console for this one, because we don't own this game on a good copy that we could record from. Oh, I wasted my bomb and a bunch of energy.
Are you telling me you cheated, Nick?
No, wasting my bomb is not a cheat.
You practiced.
Oh, I cheated on that. Yes.
You even knew how to use your bomb.
Oh, well. I didn't know all that well. But yeah, just to make sure everything was going to work, I did some practice, so apologies to HappiNES. However, when Joe gets his turn, after my one life is burned up very quickly, no doubt, then we will have a true one life, no practice challenge.
On HappiNES, do they normally do just this game?
Not the whole channel, but on the new Challenger Approaches series, yes.
Okay.
And
interesting.
They have different guests come on, like us right now, being those guests. And we answer some questions. And Joe, what are those questions?
Well, you know what, Nick? Let me tell you those questions. Let's start off with an easy one.
Okay, it's probably the first one. I don't know. I guess we don't have to do them in order.
I'm doing them in order.
All right.
And what's more, I'm going to do them with a voice. What's good, sir? What's going on?
Well,
end question.
I've answered a little bit of that already, I guess, by explaining what we're doing here. We also got some cool stuff going on, though. I mean, we are, as mentioned, we're a Let's Play channel, and we do this together, play games. I'm already dead. We didn't make it through one question.
Oh, should I ask one more?
I was going to say we got PAX coming up, and that's pretty good.
Ooh.
We've been doing this thing for a year and a half now, some change. And we're finally going to our first big con, and that's going to be a lot of fun. Joe, I guess I hand this to you now.
Well, let me go ahead and ask you one more question so we get a little bit more even spread before I hand it to you.
Sure.
So, what's your earliest video game memory?
Oh, man, that's a tough one. And I did... Well, you're going to answer this too, by the way. But I remember playing the Vectrex, which is this home console that had the console and television kind of built into one. Joe, you should be able to hit the start button on that controller. And now you're going to use the A button or maybe the B button, I can't remember, to pick your power-ups before you get started. You have 3 points to distribute. So the Vectrex, it was this old black and white system. They did do a color Vectrex later on, but we had the original black and white. And by the time I was born, it had already been through enough damage from our uncles who had owned it previously that the joystick knob had broken off, and there was just this hard metal... you used a bomb. So you can die two ways. You can die by getting hit, but you also can die by running out of energy. Yeah.
What gives you energy?
When you kill enough people, you'll see a pickup drop that if you keep shooting that, it will turn into fuel tanks eventually. Or you can get like a spread fire, or you can get various other like more damage, that kind of thing, because there are bosses. It's a pretty nifty game for its era, considering you could play a lot of different ways, I guess, depending on how you pick up those power-ups.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Vectrex, I would crush my thumb against this tiny metal rod to control movement, and we would play Asteroids and a Star Trek game. Those are the two games I remember most. The Star Trek game was ridiculous. You had to fight Klingon Bird of Preys, and they were super fast and super deadly, and I was, a tiny, tiny child. And that's my earliest gaming memory. What's yours?
It's gotta be like Legend of Zelda or like NES, definitely. I almost want to say that it is Legend of Zelda. That's certainly the one that I all that era kind of blurs together for me because we had the SNES and the NES at the same time for me.
Yes.
However,
Joe is my younger brother. So.
Oh yeah. Barrel. I don't know what that does.
I think that's just like big fuel.
All right, on.
Visual contact with surface forces confirmed. Commencing attack.
So this is interesting. You like go lower to the water, and you have to fight ships up close now.
Ooh.
But otherwise, the gameplay doesn't change. Other than like the ships are just basically static planes because
but they get behind you. So
yeah, that's true. Right.
Oh.
And usually, I think if you can blow up every gun on a ship, you get a pickup. So it's a little bit of incentive to work on them. I believe that's the case.
Well, I'm not so sure
look, you got a cow.
Ooh.
Cows are fuel, apparently.
Well, some aircraft in the 1940s did actually. You just inserted bovine creatures.
Insert cow here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So NES or SNES, one of the Zelda games is your earliest memory?
Definitely the NES Zelda is the one I'm thinking though.
Oh, okay.
I just have that. I remember very early on not being very capable at video games because I was very, very young. I can't even 4 or 5. You guys were playing games around me.
I'm still not capable of video games. I died in the first question. You've made it to the boss and you've never seen this game before. Maybe. I mean, we did have this once back in the day. Just don't have a good working copy now.
Oh, is there just phase 2?
No, you got him. Yep. All right. Let's see here. Keeping the questions rolling. What is your favorite console game or genre, and why?
Easy for me. It's the SNES, hands down. It's just,
Yeah.
I mean, the easy answer to that also is that it has most of my favorite games.
Right.
Some of those are really easy to list off the top of my head, like Super Mario RPG, Link to the Past, Super Metroid. But then it has a ton of other great stuff too. It's just classic Street Fighters, which were on other consoles as well. But it's just a magical console that had a lot of like my preferred era of design in video games, I guess.
Absolutely.
They had a sensibility to them that you only see emulated now on games that are meant to seem like retro games.
Right.
Hyper Light Drifter did a really good job of feeling like from a game from that era.
With a very updated look, though.
Yes, updated look, but it played very simply. Even though the controls had more dynamic, more physics to it.
Yeah.
The kind of the design theory of the game felt like it was right out of the SNES playbook.
See, I'm in a weird place as an indie game lover on PC. I love that so many games have adopted the retro look, but I'm seeing more and more where they're adopting the look and not capturing the feel.
I see
And they're just like kind of like shallowly like, hey, the sprite art is good, don't you love it? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And SNES, I mean specifically, it's also my favorite console, had that perfect blend of good gameplay with good sprites, like
and great music
looked
too.
beautiful.
I
Yes.
don't know what it was. Just felt like that era just was really on top of their music.
We talked about this recently. Technically, the Genesis had way better audio capability, but I swear I think it's a special. Yeah, you got an upgrade.
Okay, sweet. I was worried I just crashed into a mountain or
crashed
something.
out. You're doing great, honestly. But SNES had better audio design, regardless of the fact that the hardware wasn't as capable. However, I would say, in spite of the SNES being my first favorite console, you are out. I think that's. I think you're probably about to die if you don't get a pickup quick. I thought you would. Oh, hey. I don't know though, because you were on 0 for a while. I guess you can just ride 0. Oh, that's what it is.
There it goes.
Your energy is both fuel and health. So if you have full fuel, you can take a hit, which weird, but I guess okay. If you're at 0 fuel, the next hit kills you.
Well,
that's what it was. So we are out. We are going to finish these questions. You want to keep playing, or you want to trade again?
sure. I'll
Okay. So our challenge is over. We made it to Joe beat the first boss, and then got pretty good into the second stage. But we're going to keep going and answering these questions for HappiNES. My favorite game, I didn't get to it, is Morrowind on PC. Elder Scrolls 3, it is the most diverse and grand RPG I've ever played. I think it has the coolest world building and setting. It has the coolest plot where the game gets very meta, but not overtly. And the epic boss battle at the end where you can't just go up and fight the boss. You have to pay attention to the story. You have to learn what you need to bring to bear and complete certain objectives. It's the most invested I've ever been in a video game. I've beat it I don't know how many times, and it is absolutely my favorite. So that one wins out even over all my favorite gems on the SNES.
Right on. Did we ask what mine was? Is that...
Well, I asked you the full question, which was an or.
Console.
It was console, game, or genre. If you'd like to answer, you go ahead.
Her favorite game's harder to choose because it partially has to do with mood.
Yeah. Mine is always Morrowind, but then like my second favorite would definitely be on mood. All right. What do you collect, and why?
What did I collect?
Yeah, or do you, if you collect things now?
I mean, I guess the only thing I've really ever collected was probably Magic cards, and it wasn't even necessarily like for the sake of collecting them. It was so I could have them for playing.
Yeah.
But that was still, building a collection. I mean, I guess I also built them to trade, which still a fan of Magic, but I just don't have the time to play like I want to.
Right. Yeah.
But I've never been as big into collecting. Even now, like when I see people who have like awesome toy collectors, like, oh, that's neat. But it doesn't necessarily give me the urge to be like, I wish I had a whole set of novelty things. I'm not as attached to physical possessions as I used to be, I guess.
Meanwhile, I am a huge collector of everything. Yeah. I collect miniatures for Dungeons and Dragons. I collect video games, both digitally on my Steam library. I'm trying to... it's currently over 1,000 because of family sharing, but I want my personal Steam collection to be over 1,000. That's my obnoxious goal for no reason. And I'm actually going to combine this question because the last question, which is not the next one, but the last question is collect games / play them or both. It's definitely both for me. I have been on a crazy retro game pull. Actually, one of the reasons this collab took almost 2 months to get out is because I've been looking for a good copy of 1943 every time I go out retro game hunting and just can't get one in my area. So, apologies for having to emulate, but been trying to try to find a copy, and in the process probably spent $200 or $300 on other games I incidentally found. I just got an N64 modded out for high quality capture, and I bought maybe 20 games for that. And I ended up getting a bunch of SNES and NES games, and as soon as I get them home, I play them and try to first of all test them out, but see how far I can go with them, and then kind of create a mental list of like, all right, I will beat this one someday. Where do I want to set that in my my internal queue of what I'm gonna do? So definitely play and collect a lot of stuff. Last question, Joe. What is your favorite video game memory?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That is real tough.
Give me a second. I want to go ahead and get this thought out there while I'm trying to figure out the answer to that. Which side am I fighting for? It said Kaku, fight bravely, and I was just thinking that sounds like a Japanese name.
That's interesting. It's a good point because you are technically playing a Japanese-made game, so it's possible that you're fighting for the Japanese. I honestly don't know. I have no idea what the history is of this game. I think you shoot lightning. So
well, that's not true.
What?
Well, actually, okay, that is true.
Yeah,
that is strictly true.
What I was going to say is I don't think it takes a very historical stance to 1943 because of your ability to shoot lightning. So I don't know if you're actually like a real type of plane that was used, or if all of this is just a random kind of interpretation of air combat made by a Japanese developer, Yeah. I don't know. Hard to say, really. Got some nice fuel pickups there. Doing well with that.
I'm digging this game, actually.
It's a super good game.
I don't know that I've ever played it before. You said we owned it, but I don't remember it.
Yeah, we owned it. It's hard for me to say that because there was a period of time where I had a box of NES cartridges that have all disappeared except for, I think I was down to 20 when I started recollecting again. But I had so many games in this box that
not gonna get that. Okay.
I collected from our uncles and such. Or am I going while we answer this last question?
I do have the answer to that question, though.
Oh, okay.
So it took me a while. Shadow of the Colossus. The first time I played that game, people started to realize that I was playing it, and people who had played it before, and they were all gathering around the living room. And over the course of me playing this game, I had a captive audience of like
That's beautiful.
15 people all crammed into an apartment watching me beat the game. And we got through that last segment where it gets tragic and it gets epic, and everybody was just like, oh, people who hadn't played it before were like, what? And it was just this full, like, everybody was so invested. People who just wanted to see me get sad because they had played it before. People who were experiencing it for the first time.
Yeah.
And that like combined feeling of all the different like joys and sadnesses in there was just, it was magical. So easily
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, it's tough. I'm thinking about this while you've been talking, of course, and I don't know, man, because like my most memorable moments are probably just any kind of multiplayer stuff we've done. So it's funny that you would pick, you know, a group of people watching you play a single player game. The group is obviously what makes that moment so great.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think, you know, growing up and playing like Golden Axe, I tell you what, actually, I know what it was. It wasn't Golden Axe. It was NES Gauntlet. We have a weird relationship, you and I, with our family, where it's like we love them because they're family, but we hate them because they're our family. And they tend to be obnoxious in a lot of different ways. But our aunt, Vicky, I can go say first names, I guess, was big into Gauntlet on NES. And we rented it one night, and I feel like we stayed up like all night, like me at, I don't know, maybe 8 years old, staying up all night with her to just play Gauntlet on NES. And, you know, hours and hours and hours of, you know, Red Wizard is about to die, you know, and that kind of thing. It just, that will always stick with me as one of the most fun times. So I think that's it. I made it past the first stage and a whole question.
Right on.
So I have redeemed myself with a second attempt, even though you are only allowed one for this challenge to actually be meaningful. Do we have anything else we want to talk about? Do we want me to run until I die, or do we want to end
all the
it here?
questions?
That's all the questions.
Oh, it's quick.
That's
Yeah, I mean, I think we just run the rest of this in silence, and
just tank this video at this point, like
just tank it like Nick's
right.
about to
Let's
tank
see if I can
the
get.
boss fight.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's see if I can get to the boss fight. If I get to the boss fight, we'll end it there. If I don't, well,
boss
we'll
is
obviously
actually pretty easy, honestly. So you should
yeah.
be fine. One of the reasons that
This is really easy.
old games from the SNES and NES era are so great is just the sound design. The limitations created some really just unique sounds that just stand out to me.
That applies for a lot of retro games, because every sound felt more important, right? Because they are so limited. You know, now you can have these full orchestral sweeping epics. Breath of the Wild just came out, and they like talking about how the music has like what would normally have been like a single audio cue in an old game, where it'd be like doo 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 doo, you know, that kind of thing. It now works into the music. And I think that's beautiful and that's really cool, but you're never gonna have the quotable doo 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 doo, you know, noises or whatever. If it's just worked into the music, it's gonna feel too smooth almost. I don't know. I
There's something to be said about the weird specific nature of the video game medium as it was like made. Like the closer you approach to making it kind of this smooth, like seamless experience, that like there was, I guess what it is old video games had like weird seams to them in their design, and those seams created really interesting like I don't know, video game design ephemera, and now the more seamless it's become, the less like weird, like just things that kind of come out of circumstance of limited design spaces, I mean, not to say that there's not like great value in that, but like you said, there are drawbacks to it too.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like I said, exactly. It's exactly right. We should probably end this now before we ramble too much. I will like to say I'm doing pretty damn good, though. Thank you to HappiNES for having us on. This was...
you shoot some of those boats, they might get a barrel.
Yeah, but I'm up to like 98 anyway.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, it's the upgrade, actually. But yeah, this was great. This is a very different kind of collab for us. We appreciate you inviting us to the series. If you want us to do anything else, let us know. And you guys, if you liked hearing us ramble, please click on the link that I'm sure HappiNES will be providing to go check us out on Instant Replay Live.
Wait a minute. That's not a link to Instant Replay Live.
What is it?
That's a link to... I was trying to think of a funny website, Nick.
Whitehouse.com.
not .gov?
Yeah, specifically .com. The porn site from the 90s.
What a strange website to link to.
I got a cow.
Good job. All right,
Yeah.
we'll see you guys on the videos.
Yeah, check out those porns on whitehouse.com. Those porns. That's the plural. All right. We're done. Now I'm just playing.